kick your head off. Okay, booger, your kiss ticket or your life?
Please, sir, don't beat me up. I do have a kiss ticket, but not on me.
Oh, likely story. Now hand it over, punk.
No, really. My brother's hanging on to it for safekeeping. Please, let me get him for you. Hey, Chongo!
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Kiss and Tell Podcast. Today's podcast is all about the community. We have special guests from two different podcasts. We have Eli and Luke from Kiss Meets the Podcast, and we have Brent from Fans in Motion, which is an awesome Night Ranger podcast. So, Eli, would you like to talk a little bit about Kiss Meets the Podcast?
Sure. We started our podcast. It's probably been, 2-3 years or so now. It kind of all sparked from, I was watching, numerous other Kiss podcasts at the time, and I would just get these urges to want to chime in and, go along with what they're talking about or give my 2 cents. So then finally it was just like, well, what better way to do it than just start your own show? And, but eventually it got to the point where it felt like we were starting to run out of topics and it was getting kind of slow. And once we brought Luke in, he could tell you a little more about the backstory of the crazy Kiss Countdown. But we kind of borrowed that from something he was doing with his family. And we're like, well, let's incorporate that into the show now and change up the format, just kind of go through the discography one album at a time. So we decided, let's just go ahead, take the break, and jump right back into the main discography again. We're changing it up a little bit from the way we did it the first time. Plus, Luke's fiance, Savannah, is our usual co-host too, and she didn't get to do it with us the first time, so we wanted to include her this time. For that matter, we have an open door policy. Anyone is welcome to come on. If you guys want to come on, excuse me, I hear my dog barking in the background. Wife and kids just got home. But anyway, if anyone wants to come on, anyone's more than welcome. We had Chris on a few weeks ago to do the Hotter Than Hell album. So come on, discuss an album with us, just having some Kiss talk in general. So, but again, it's Kiss Meets the Podcast. So please check us out on YouTube. We also have a Facebook page. And, we kind of do some things and we'll go from there.
So I was on there about 3 weeks ago and had a great time. These guys are amazing hosts and do a great job. So Luke, you want to tell us a little bit about that crazy Kiss Countdown?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that was something that my dad had came up with, and it was very similar to what we do now on Kiss Meets the Podcast, as far as listening to a Kiss album from start to finish, ranking the songs in order from your favorite to your least favorite, giving the album an overall rank. And then we would actually, for these YouTube episodes, you can go and still find them on YouTube, I think, if you search Crazy Kiss Countdown. We didn't do the entire discography, but we jumped around a little bit. We actually scripted the episodes and filmed them bit by bit, talking about where the songs ranked when you combined all of our stuff together. We talked a little bit information about the albums. I think we even played a little bit, or I played a little bit of the song that came in first. And it was just a really interesting concept to amalgamate everybody's opinions about the songs and the albums and everything. And it seemed like the perfect thing to bring to Kiss Meets the Podcast, as far as what can we do that's new and exciting and involve our viewers, something that's maybe a bit already established we can utilize. And it was absolutely perfect. It's been a lot of fun.
One day I'm going through YouTube looking for different podcasts, and I see one for Night Ranger. I'm like, man, I've never seen a Night Ranger podcast, and I love Night Ranger. I love Dawn Patrol of Midnight Madness. Was it 4? What's those 4 in the morning? What album was that on?
7 Wishes.
7 Wishes. There you go. I mean, when I hear Night Ranger, it's automatically for me 1983, 84. I'm getting ready to go to Florida with my church group, and I'm crushing mad on this girl, and I'm listening to Sister Christian and Oh, it's just brings back great memories. And I watched those episodes, and that podcast is so good. And I noticed that one of the guys always had some kind of Kiss memorabilia. So I was like, let me see if this dude wants to come on the show. And Brent graciously accepted, and I'm going to turn it over to Brent.
Or Ace Frehley and shock me. No. Yeah, I'm a diehard Kiss fan. I cut my teeth on Kiss. As everybody says, they're the gateway drug. The only problem is there's so many Kiss podcasts, I couldn't find anybody that would do one with me. So I met a knucklehead out of Lancaster, Ohio, named Josh. He's a huge Kiss fan as well. But when we were speaking one night, he's a huge Night Ranger fan. I'm a huge Night Ranger fan. And my buddy Andy, who I met because of Kiss, he's also on the show. He's a huge Night Ranger fan. So anyway, in the midst of the COVID thing, we went ahead and put together a website or a Facebook page, in March. And we launched a podcast in June, I think it was. And tomorrow we're recording our 14th episode. And it's with Mr. Joel Hoekstra, former Night Ranger guitarist, current Whitesnake guitarist.
Wow.
So it's things are happening on the show. We don't get the viewership you guys get. We're somewhat limited. I mean, when you say Night Ranger, people say who? And when and the only time you're really going to get them is if you bring up Sister Christian. Oh yeah, I remember that song. And they got so much more material. They're still putting out great music to this day. They're a fun band to talk about. But I was floored when I got an invite to come to do a Kiss show. You guys have no idea. Lord. And Eli and Luke, I'm a fan of all lineups all through the year. One of my all-time favorite albums, and here I'm going to watch Lyman's face here. I love Asylum. So when you get to Asylum, I'm your guy.
Okay, I will hold you to that.
He sounds like Chris Jericho.
I love Asylum. I think it's such an underrated album.
It is, and it's an album that recently grew on me over the last couple of years, and maybe thanks to the podcast, because when we did the album the first time, I was just like, oh my God, this album is much better than I was ever giving it credit for. Other than a couple songs that I would listen to, and I'm like, man, there's some heavy stuff on here. But I think I was doing the whole judging the book by the cover, because that was, in my opinion, one of the worst looks they've ever had. The whole B. Arthur thing and everything that Gene had.
That's it. But yeah, so we're only on YouTube, the Fans of Motion podcast right now. Josh is currently getting a website together. We're going to have a T-shirt store. We're going to have, be on all the different formats, iTunes, wherever you can download a podcast from.
Nice. I'm definitely going to check it out, man, because I'm one of those people, unfortunately, that only knows probably 2 songs by Night Ranger. But it's things like that. It's finding a podcast like yours, and then I guarantee it's going to inspire me to want to listen to more Night Ranger now, because I like hearing people's passion for things, and and it kind of gives me like a kick in the butt, like, oh well, duh, why didn't I give this stuff a chance years ago?
They look like they're in their 30s on stage. I mean, they're moving around so much. The voices are so good, and their last album came out 2 years ago, and it sounds as fresh as anything they've ever done.
Wow.
So
Luke's a big fan of Toto. Like, he's
me too. Steve
and I'm the same way with Toto. It's like I only know a few songs, and then he's like downloading the whole discography. I'm waiting on him to start a Toto podcast on the side.
Go ahead, Brian.
I'm sorry. So if you guys would have been able to get to the Creatures of the Night tour in Dayton, Ohio, like myself and Andy Parker, you'd be huge Night Ranger fans today.
We got a Creatures era poster right above me here, and it's like that's now one of those mythical tours that I'm just like, oh, if only I could have been there. That would have been so cool. So every time I drive by UD Arena to this day, I just still get that thought, like, Kiss played there on Creatures. Like, forget everything else that's happened in that arena.
Yeah, I'll never forget. We were sitting there at the concert, and Andy had to go pee. He goes, I gotta go pee. I gotta go pee. And so finally, he went to go pee, and he came back. He said, "I missed anything?" I said, "Only Gene Simmons spitting fire."
Oh no! Might as well leave.
We're gonna get this ball game started. We're taking the first 3 Kiss albums It's for Kiss, Hotter Than Hell, and Dressed to Kill. And we're going to take those albums to make one ultimate Kiss album with 10 songs, 5 on each side. And we're going to talk about the title of our albums, the album cover, and the producer of our album, which could be any producer Kiss has ever had in its history. So that would include Paul Stanley.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with Luke. He's going to tell us the name of his album, the producer, and he's going to describe the cover and tell us the intro song. What song did he choose to get that album started with?
Absolutely. Well, I can spoil the beginning song and the title all at once because it just felt appropriate. I went with Parasite as the album title.
Nice.
I love one word album titles. It's straightforward. It gets the point across, and it's a cool word. It evokes a cool imagery, especially for the songs that I chose. I think it seemed to make sense for that kind of dirty, grungy Kiss image. I went with Revenge era Bob Ezrin for producer.
Nice.
I wanted that a more modern production sound, but still clear and maybe not quite so bombastic as, say, Psycho Circus would have been. I really thought about Bruce Fairbairn,
Okay.
but ended up going with like a Revenge-style Bob Ezrin production. So for an album cover, I was kind of picturing something a bit similar to Love Gun, but with a few changes. First off, I like the color scheme of Destroyer. So I felt like that blue and red, almost a purple backdrop would be good for this, with them standing in the center, kind of like they are in Love Gun. I also thought that it would be good to keep the women from the Love Gun cover, but rather than having them kind of down in front, have them up and kind of hanging off them and around their legs, like the Second Coming photo shoot, that sort of thing. Almost implying, I've noticed a lot of the songs I picked seem to be about like toxic relationships and things. So not that I want to generalize or anything, but I thought maybe the Parasite title could be implying that sort of a thing. And then the last, as far as the album cover goes, I picked out my favorite costumes for each guy to be wearing, which is not era fair at all, but I was seeing Paul in his Dynasty jumpsuit, not the purple thing, but just his regular bodysuit, the teardrops along. Gene in his 1983 Creatures costume, not the more modern Creatures version. Ace, of course, in the Love Gun costume, and then Peter in his Destroyer costume.
Nice. And what song did you pick to start your album off?
Parasite.
Parasite, gotcha.
Yep.
All right. So we're over to Brent.
I took a more simplistic approach. I didn't envision my favorite costumes. I wish I had now, but I didn't. When Chris told me we were going to combine the first 3 albums and condense them into one, I immediately went with the album title, Kiss. Pardon me, Alive and Dressed for Hell. Yes, I know, Alive is, but Alive ties the first 3 records together, so that's why I included it. I went with a Dressed to Kill kind of look, mixing it up with Hotter Than Hell, and I trying to get it in that little window there. I'm looking. Yes. You know, I took the Chikars off the Hotter Than Hell. I combined Dressed to Kill with Hotter Than Hell, and of course, I did work with the original Kiss logo with the diamonds or what have you, the glitter looking thing, but it just didn't match on the black and white cover, so I axed it. So my producer is one of my favorite producers Kiss has had, is Eddie Kramer.
Nice.
I love the production Eddie Kramer was always brought to Kiss. And I guess you're looking for my first song now?
Yes, sir.
Leading off with Deuce.
All righty.
Next.
You're up, Mike, 100,000 watts.
Okay, fellas. The name of the album would be Rumble in the Bronx. And I went ahead and made an album cover for it. I don't know how good you guys can see this, but
That's great.
Love it.
the story behind this is before they went on the Kiss Alive 1, making that album, they got in a fight backstage because they couldn't afford good costumes. The producer, we had to get the first one because they didn't have any money off the album Kiss, Kenny Kerner and co-producer Richie Wise. And so the first song would be Firehouse.
So we're over to Eli.
All right. So the title of my album, I went with The Demons of Rock. I've
Nice.
always loved that little tagline in that Hotter Than Hell commercial. And I was kind of thinking of this as more of like kind of the heavier stuff from the three of the albums, and you know, kind of playing with the public and the press, you know, because when, you know, all that stuff about all nights and Satan's service and, you know, all that crap. So it was like this album is where they're kind of like, you know, teasing them and, you know, making them think, oh, see, they really are like this, but, you know, really it's just kind of a tongue in cheek and, you know, playing around. The producer, producer is Michael James Jackson. And I'm picturing more of the production along the lines of the 4 tracks on Killers, what he did on that. As much as I love the Creatures sound, but, you know, don't need that bombastic kick through every song on here. But much like Brent, my album is going to open up with the song that should have opened the first Kiss album, Deuce.
All right, so we're up to me. My title of the album would be Blood of the Innocent, because I'm going for a heavy kind of a vibe to the album. I want it really dark and heavy. My producer, Eli Stole My Thunder, is also Michael James Jackson. But unlike Eli, I do want that bombastic sound of Creatures, because I want to get that bombastic sound of Creatures with the vibe of Hotter Than Hell. You know, that production on Hotter Than Hell. That's kind of where I'm heading in my album towards. My album cover is I would have Gene in the forefront, and the rest of the band's kind of, you know, behind him to the side. The rest of the band is black and white. Gene is color. And Gene has got his hands up, and he's got his eyes rolled back where you just see the whites, and he's got blood coming down his face. So the blood's in color, Gene's in color. The rest of the band is black and white, and it's called Blood of the Innocent. And my first song is like Eli and Brent is also going to be Deuce.
Nice. I guess I forgot to mention my cover real quick for what it's worth.
Lower it down a little bit. There you go. Perfect.
Kind of went with that same era for the photo like Brent, you know, the fire and all that, and just kind of
Nice.
came up with that little.
Yep. Same era costumes. Great. Good job. Good choice.
Oh, and I also forgot to mention even the catalog number is going to play with them because it's going to be NBLP 666.
Awesome.
All right, we're back to Luke.
Yeah, so coming out of Parasite, going into Watching You again, kind of like you guys were saying. I was jumping into the heavy stuff, trying to keep it heavy and gritty.
Okay, so we got Parasite followed by Watching You. Brent?
Wanted to say that I also consider Michael James Jackson. But I did. It was either him or Eddie Kramer, and I had to go with the Eddie Kramer for this. But anyway, Hotter Than Hell, second track.
Nice. Hotter Than Hell. So we're following up our intros. Are we going to be in a sophomore slump, Mike Watts? Or are you going to keep the level high in intensity? What you got next, man?
No, I'm coming out. My second track's going to come off the first album, Cold Gin.
All right.
Nice.
So Mike's got Hotter Than Hell followed by Cold Gin.
Are you going to change it up and have Ace sing it, or keep it with Gene?
No, I had Firehouse, Chris.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Firehouse. You're right. My bad. Okay. Now we're at Eli, second song.
Well, it looks like right now Brent and I are creating the same album. My number 2 is also Hotter Than Hell.
She looked good. She looked hotter than hell.
Can you see my set list in the reflection of my TV or something?
I hacked your computer.
Yeah. All right, good choice.
My second song is going to be Parasite.
Good one.
All right, so I went Deuce, followed by Parasite. We're back over to Luke.
Yeah. I'm going with She for my third track. Again,
Right.
same key as both Parasite and Watching You. And again, just that heavy, slow grooving or sludging on.
So our first pick from Dress to Kill comes in with She.
Oh, me. Sorry. Strutter. Strutter's my third track on the album.
So Brent knows a thing or two about her. He picked Strutter.
I don't know anything about him. Trust me. That's the mystery to all men.
Right. So we're over to Mike Watts.
Sorry to be waiting so long. 100,000 years.
I like it. 100.
I like the singing intro. That was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100,000 years.
Well, I'm starting to feel unoriginal here. My number 3 is also She.
What happened, dude? we had to go on.
I know. Now I had to jump over and steal from Luke now. So.
Yeah.
My number 3 is going to be the same as Watts. I'm going 100,000 years.
All right.
Trying to keep it heavy and in your face.
Yep.
You're up, Luke.
Yes, absolutely. Deuce, going with Deuce here. She, I felt like, brought the energy down a little bit. We're sludging and heavy, and Deuce, bring it back up. Kick him in the face.
Good. Changing the tempo. Yeah,
Number
Brent.
4, Cold Gin with Ace singing the song.
Oh,
Nice.
I like it.
There you go. Well, so when Eli, I think you're the one that said it. Is Ace singing? I'm thinking, oh, dude, be quiet, be quiet. My idea. So yeah, I had Cold Gin with Ace singing the tune.
Nice.
Real nice. All right, Michael Watts.
Number 4. Black Diamond. Out on
Black
the streets
Diamond.
for a living. Peter Criss.
Peter Criss, the Chris Cat. So Black Diamond's Mike's 4th choice on side 1. We're going to go to Eli.
Well, it's time to bring in the Cat Man on my album, and he's going to get plenty of love on this, but the next one is Strange Ways.
Oh, nice. And my 4th song on the first side is just like Eli, it's Strange Ways. I don't want any love songs on the first side, nothing slow.
Yeah, there ain't going to be no ballads on my album.
No, I want all bloody noses. All right, Luke, your last song to close out side 1. What kind of message are you going to send to close out the first side?
Well, I'm hoping that after Deuce kicked you in the face, your eyes got messed up, and therefore you're going blind.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It is.
Figured the end of that one with the low tom roll was a good way to close out that first side.
Yes.
Yes. And are you going the lyrics with Unplugged or lyrics off the Hotter Than Hell?
I think I'll go with the original lyrics.
Okay.
Good idea.
No little lady beneath the land of the sea or whatever.
Nah.
All right, Brent.
My number 5, I went with Rock Bottom
Oh,
Hey,
to close it out. Get the little intro in there because you're not expecting what's coming after that the first time you've ever heard that song.
oh
Yes.
man.
that's right. It's like the no-look pass.
Yeah.
You're up, Mike. How you closing off your first side, man?
Brent stole it.
I did when I saw your reaction.
He said, Chris, blind man. The song starts out soft, but then it gets hard.
We're
All
going rock bottom for Mike Watts, stand up, his side one. Eli?
Well, I didn't want to close the album with this, but I figured what better way to close the first side, and then you still got some more punching in the face coming at you, but Black Diamond closes side one.
Black Diamond. That's a nice closer. And my song to close out the side is like Brent, is Rock Bottom. Now we are going to side two, so when they put this album on, Luke, what are you going to do to them when they hear the first song on the second side? They're kind of iffy on you, Luke. They're like, there's some, I'm not sure. What do you got for the fans right now?
Well, I'm going to start to sound a bit like a broken record. Hopefully their record isn't broken. I'm starting side two with Rock Bottom. I thought for the same reason Brent mentioned to close out side one, I thought you turn the record over, that clean intro comes on, you're like, the heck? Is this the same guys? And then, bam.
Yeah.
It's like the scene in Detroit Rock City when she puts on the record and jumps out of her seat. That's how it's going to hit them.
And did you guys ever notice the side that they're playing is the wrong side?
Yeah.
On that. I was in the theater with my now wife. We were watching it like, that's side two or whatever. Whatever the side was, I'm like, that's the wrong side. She just said there, she's like, will you be quiet? I'm like, anyway, with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Luke, I took some inspiration for you on this. Parasite is my number two. One song in side two.
That's a good call there.
Yeah.
Mike Watts, your first song on side two.
I'm trying to make the fans feel happy on side two. I'm coming out with Rock and Roll All Night and Party Every Day.
You going for that radio hit, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to make them say, hey, they're going to play that on the radio, man.
I see you, Mike Watts, but that's the one without the solo. So we'll see.
Yeah.
The better one.
Okay, yeah. Eli loves that version. That's right. I remember him talking about that. Eli, you're up.
Well, back on track with Brent. Parasite starts side two for me.
Nice. All right. So
Eli, I'm sorry I'm doing this to you. This is what they do to me on my show all the time, or not my show, our show on the Fans of Motion. We'll do a list thing, and Andy will say something, then John, I'm like, I'm tired of going third. So I apologize.
Well, I can't go Parasite because I've already used it, but I'm starting off my side too with Watching You.
Yes, coming out of Rock Bottom, I figured let's keep it in that sort of that same album, that same sort of feel, and go with Love Her All I Can.
Ooh, I like that. Now that might be a radio hit too, Mike Watts. What do you think?
No.
That could get some radio play, man. That got a little catchy hook there, man. You never know. Did they ever release that as a single?
No.
Yeah.
No?
They should have.
They should have, yeah.
I think so, too. Okay, Brent, your second song?
Firehouse.
Oh, okay. Firehouse.
Just like the groove to it. It's got a great groove.
Yeah, it does.
And that's that's where Gene spits fire. I mean, of course, he could do it in Watching You. He could do it in any song you wanted to, really. But it goes with Firehouse, and I only had 30 songs to pick from. And by the way, thanks for making me do this. There's songs you guys have already said, but I'm not. That's not on mine that were there. So.
All right, Mike, your second song on side two.
Well, side B, here we go. You're going to keep Paul Stanley dancing. He's going to say, you look good, you look hotter than hell.
All right.
Yeah. Keep Paul dancing on the track, hotter than hell.
All dressed in satin and lace. Okay, Eli, you're up.
I am going with one that should have stayed in the set list a lot longer on the Alive tour, Ladies in Waiting.
Oh, wow. Deep cut. Okay, my second song on second side is She off Dress to Kill. I'm still pretty heavy, nothing light. And we're back over to Luke for his third song on side two.
Yeah, getting back down into the nitty and the gritty, bringing out, kind of like Eli said, bringing out Peter for the first time, I think, on my album here with Strange Ways.
Nice.
Such a good tune.
Right.
I went with my third track, Got to Choose.
Ooh, Got to Choose.
Third track, I'm picking Parasite.
Parasite.
I got Firehouse.
Eli's going Firehouse. Nice. And my third song on side 2 is Cool Gin. And I'm going to steal Brent's idea. I'm going to have Ace sing it.
Uh-oh.
No singing for you, Gene.
Hey, Lion Man.
Yeah.
Lion Man.
Yeah.
In 1974, the Decibel and Cold Gin came out on their first album, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, how old would Vinnie Vincent be back then? Could you have him sing it? Would he be 3 years old back then?
I think Vinny's older than Ace, ain't he?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Vinny was like writing songs for Joni Loves Chachi, man.
Yeah.
He was.
I do believe I looked this up one time.
The
I
way
think
you did that.
Tommy Thayer is the youngest member to have ever been in Kiss, and even he was born in 1960, I think.
Oh, wow.
I just, for some reason, thought Vinny was young for some
No.
reason.
It's that
All them
Warrior
times I
makeup,
seen him
man.
on MTV with on that Lick It Up video,
Yeah.
I was like, look at that little young guy they got playing with them right there.
Yeah, he does look really little. Yeah.
I was like, that's sad, man.
Little did you know he was already on
They robbed
Medicaid.
him out of high school.
Didn't Paul Stanley come up with that design for him to wear?
I
Yeah.
believe so.
No wonder it sucked.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was easy to draw, though. I can tell you that. That was a lot easier
Is it?
than I imagine Gene or Ace's makeup was.
So,
Yeah.
The only
Michael,
thing, they
Mike
try to keep
Watts.
his lips like Ace.
Mike Watts is the Michael Bramvold of this show, but he attacks he attacks Paul instead of attacking Ace.
Awesome.
And I don't know why, because in high school he loved Paul. He was always doing the Paul Stanley dancing in our classroom
his hair.
and all that. Yeah.
I was
He would like dance like Paul.
that to impress the girls.
I know he would walk down the hall and start dancing like Paul in like all night video. So we are on Luca for the song number 4. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to throw in there too, kind of along with what Mike was saying, when Eli and I were playing in Sweet Pain together and we were playing the Creatures lineup, I actually did sing Cold Gin in the Onk makeup.
Really?
So Vinny may not
Awesome.
have ever done it in concert, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. I would have liked to have heard that.
Do you have video of that?
Yeah,
I would
we do.
imagine we do. Yeah.
I would just like to see the optics of seeing Vinny singing Go Gin, see how that looks like. That would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I'll forewarn you now that I'm a big wuss when it comes to shaving my beard, and at that point I had a really long chin beard and I refused to shave it.
Okay.
So it's Vinny with a beard too.
That's probably, that's probably the first time he ever had a beard in his life.
Yeah.
It made him more manly, you know.
Yeah, I had to assert that, absolutely, yes. So my song number 4 on side 2, as we're getting ready to end the album, I thought, why not 100,000 years? That's a good groove on the way out.
Absolutely. And I told you this before, I think that's the most intricate guitar piece Ace ever did in his career.
Mhm.
The intricacies of that rhythm and the solo part.
Yep.
I've never heard Ace play anything else like that in his career.
Right. It's downright confusing because it's not what you'd expect out of a solo.
Okay, Brent, you're up.
This one, getting close to the end, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Sorry. I'm going to do Nothing to Lose.
Oh, I love the Paul Stanley stage raps, man. I love them.
They never get old.
They don't.
I just wish I could do it.
You guys seen the Paul Stanley GPS, right?
No, I haven't.
So go to YouTube and type in Paul Stanley GPS, and it's a little cartoon that comes up. Oh man, it's great.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. Yeah.
All right, Mike, you're.
I'm gonna let Peter Chris get in again. I'm gonna let Peter Chris on the 4th track go with Strange Ways.
Eli, your second to last song.
Mainline.
Oh, we got a lot of Peter love going around here.
Yep. 3 tracks on this album. Very well deserved.
Another deep cut from Eli. Good job, Eli.
Thank you.
All right, my 4th song on side 2 is the only Paul Stanley song I have on my entire album.
God.
Love Her All I Can.
Oh, interesting.
We'll try to get a little radio play, a little airplay there. So that's my wuss moment of my album.
You know, I think we mentioned that on our show last night. There's really not a lot of heavy Paul songs that you could say, which is kind of weird, you know. So
yeah, right. That's true.
That would explain why you didn't have any Paul songs.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about Under the Gun, right? Because Kiss doesn't historically have a lot of really fast-paced songs either. Under the Gun and like Boomerang from Hot in the Shade. And I've even seen Paul in interviews say that he dislikes fast-paced songs, which is strange.
Yeah, I guess Young and Wasted would be a fast-paced one too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Man, yeah, you're right. That's a good point. So we're going to see how Luke's going to end his album, where he's going to take us on this last track.
Yes. Well, I hate to be super predictable, but let me tell you, I truly believe Black Diamond is just one of the best album closers of all time. And much as I wanted to put it elsewhere, I couldn't think of any other song on all 3 of the first albums that made a better closing statement. So definitely Black Diamond.
So he's going Black Diamond, which is arguably one of the greatest album closers in not just Kiss history, but classic rock history.
Absolutely.
Do you let it drone out at the end?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, Brent, you're up.
I apologize for my pick, but it had to be there. Rock and Roll All Night.
All right.
It is a rock and roll national anthem, and it closes out the concert, so I figured it has to close out my album.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's very predictable, though. That's why I thought, Luke, it's predictable. I'm like, here we go again.
So rock and roll all night and party every day. The rock and roll national anthem. Mike, you're up. How are you closing off your album, man? What message are you sending?
I want to know, before I close this album away, I want to know how many songs did Paul Stanley get to sing? Firehouse, 100,000 Years, Rock Bottom, and Hotter Than Hell. So I got 4 Pauls on my album. 4. And then I'm going with Going Blind to close it out.
Oh.
Going bald. You want to go Going Blind or Going Bald?
Close it out.
Oh, crap. Is this a Rush podcast?
Bald, so yeah. Know that no more.
We're doing Rush. We're doing the Rush version.
Yes.
All right, good job, Mike Watts. Eli, how you closing out the album, man?
I got to close it out with 100,000 Years, another epic closer. We're even going to put in a little bit more of the drum solo like they did in a live. And I just love the ending with the quick drum fills and the way it just ends. Bam, on that one last hit, good way to take the album out.
So that was a really good pick. I did not see that coming. Did not see that one coming.
You gotta keep me coming.
All right, so I'm going to close and end my album just like Luke. Got to go Black Diamond. And but I want to end it like the explosions, kind of like off of Live 2. So take out the and just add like explosions going off. That's how I would change that part up. But yeah, I'll end it with Black Diamond. So good job, guys. Y'all did a really good effort on everything. I want to kind of go over the stats here. So off the first album, we got 21 songs that were picked. So 21 choices. From Hotter Than Hell, we got 18. And Dressed to Kill, we got 11.
Wow.
So was it 22, 18, 11?
21.
21, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I figured since they played so many songs off the first album still live, I really had to focus on that album. So I first, let's see, 5 songs off the first album for me, 3 songs off of Hotter Than Hell, and 2 off Dress to Kill is the way I did it.
Yeah.
But I really wanted Watching You. I really wanted Strange Ways. I really wanted, there was so much. I wanted to do an expanded version from Japan, but you wouldn't let me. You know?
What's interesting is their set list on the Alive Destroyer tour was pretty much that way. They had the majority of songs from Kiss, then the next highest amount was Hotter Than Hell, and then they had like 2, I think, from Dress to Kill. If I'm not mistaken, they had 2.
You know, and I love Ladies in Waiting and Two Timer. I love that stuff.
Yeah,
it is such great stuff, but I was just trying to be as realistic as I took the more realistic approach instead of the fantasy approach. You know.
So I want to read off the names of the songs that nobody picked. So off the first album, the songs that were not picked were Let Me Know, Kiss in Time, and Love Theme from Kiss. I knew Mike would laugh about the love thing. I knew they'd get him going. Hotter Than Hell, the songs not picked were Let Me Go Rock and Roll, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah.
I figured somebody would pick that one. All the Way and Coming Home. The songs off Dress to Kill that were not chose were Room Service, Two Timer, Getaway, Come On and Love Me, Anything for My Baby. Those were the songs that weren't chose from.
That's my next album. All those songs are my next album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely real close to putting Two Timer and Come On and Love Me at one point, and again, like as much as I tote Rock and Roll All Night, that studio version, it just it didn't fit the theme of the heaviness of it.
So did you get a chance to look at that post I sent you yesterday, Eli, about the certification of the KISS catalog?
No, I don't believe I did.
So I went last night for some reason. I got bored, and I went through the RIAA certifications of bands, like the top 50 bands. Mm-hmm. And KISS was listed as having sold 21 million albums total in their career, which I know that's not true. And then I went and started doing some research, and what I found was for them to have their albums recertified, it's mainly got to be a push from the record company. And secondly, Paul and Gene, according to what I read, were not big fans of getting it recertified because that means they would have to pay royalties to producers and co-writers on those albums that went up in total sales. And then something else I wrote was in 1996, Destroyer actually went from 1 million to 2 million, but then was quickly changed back to 1 million. And the rumor going around was that Gene and them found out about it and like told them not to do it. But in 2011, Destroyer was officially upgraded to double platinum status. Another thing is I went through all the albums and I tried to kind of guesstimate what I think those sales would be if they were to recertify the albums. And I just want to read some off, and I want you guys' input if you think I'm right, I'm wrong, I'm way off, or whatever. But for the first album, which is certified as gold right now, which would be between 500,000 and 1 million copies. I said if they went to recertify it, it would be at double platinum at 2 million.
I agree with that.
Totally.
Okay, for Hotter Than Hell, I got 1 million. What do y'all think about that?
What they got Hotter Than Hell out right now?
500,000.
2020. I mean,
Five-
how many has it sold?
They said 500,000.
You know,
Yeah.
me myself, I own probably 10 copies of each album: CD, 8-track, cassette, vinyl. Then the 2014 vinyls. Now the colored edition vinyls are putting out. And every kid I knew growing up in the 70s had every album. You know, I'd push it to 2 million personally. I'd push anything up through Dynasty 2 million easy.
And the thing is, me and
Except for
Brent.
Peter Criss' solo album.
Oh,
You know, sorry.
Me and Brent's a couple years older than me, but I'm in that same age group as him. Me and Brent, we lived through the 70s, and maybe Eli too. I'm not sure how you are, Eli. But,
I'm turning 40 this year.
Oh no, so you're a puppy. You're a baby.
Man.
So we lived through that hysteria, and it was a hysteria. And it was all the kids in school were like Kiss nerds, Kiss freaks. I used to take my albums to school and trade them like baseball cards. And, you know, people would have Kiss cards at recess, trading them, Kiss lunch. I mean, it was huge. You can't, if you weren't there, you can't really understand how big they were. And, you know, when I see these certifications where, you know, I'm not banging on nobody else's musical taste, but when I see that Dave Matthews is certified to have sold more records than Kiss, I'm like, there's no way. And it's not even about musicianship, because obviously I think Dave Matthews is far superior musically, but the popularity of Kiss was so much greater than Dave Matthews could ever hope to be. And even if a lot of people say, well, Kiss, that's kiddie music. Well, guess what? Those kids pressure their parents to buy them those albums.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, though, but as far as the popularity, I mean, Dave Matthews does have a huge following. And, I mean, it's borderline Grateful Dead these days, the way people travel to their shows, and it's, you know, the whole, you know, taping the shows like people did with Grateful Dead. And, yeah, it's a pretty giant fan base. You know, it's kind of up there with, like, Fish and bands like that.
Yeah, those jam bands.
Yeah, they get these, like, cult followings.
He has died down here in Cincinnati because he used to play 3 nights at Riverbend.
Yeah.
You know, and now it's one.
Mm-hmm.
It's still, you know, it's usually sold out, but now it's one. You know, it was the same way with Jimmy Buffett.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta remember when Hootie and the Blowfish hit during when Kiss was on their Alive worldwide tour. I remember standing in the line to get tickets, and Hootie tickets went on sale the same day. I was going crazy. But yeah, it's very it was always very what's the word I'm looking for? You know, the fruit of the month, the popularity, the trend, whatever. That's the way Dave Matthews was treated down here. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, sure, in Chicago he's selling out multiple nights still and stuff like that, but I don't know what he's doing up your guys' way.
Very, very college heavy.
Yeah.
Crap. Yeah. And, you know, but at the same time, you know, Dave Matthews hasn't really had a hit in how many years? And
not since 1996 or 7, something like that.
Well, and, you know, you could kind of say the same about Kiss, but there's a big difference there
longer.
Yeah, you know, there's that difference though with the icon status, I guess, to put it that way, is why.
Hey, Lion Man.
Yes.
I want to say something about Kiss real quick. When they went on that reunion tour, they made that Kiss trilogy on DVD, right, Chris?
Yeah, the Kissology or something.
Yeah, Kissology, and they had a trilogy of it. It was 3 different sets of it.
Yeah.
So look and see how many those sold.
I got it right here. I'm about to get to it, and it's going to take a minute, but there's a point at the very end that I want to make, and I want to tell you guys that my guesstimates, I'm trying to be conservative. So that's why I went 1 million with Hotter Than Hell.
Yeah. Okay.
So one of my questions, like when you were mentioning Destroyer, does that include the Destroyer Resurrected? Is that what now raises that number?
I believe it did.
Okay.
I think it does count as the same album.
Yeah.
So on Dress to Kill, it's listed as gold. I think if they recertified, it'd be $2 million.
Yeah.
Saying
I mean,
Rock and Roll All Night, I could, yeah.
I mean, even the single for Rock and Roll All Night would probably surpass 2 million.
Yeah.
At this point.
And I'm trying to stay conservative, and I realize, I don't know. It's a guesstimate. My Kiss Alive, I think Alive is still classified as gold. Certified right now as gold.
Now, that was their first million-selling album.
Yeah,
back in the
it
day.
went platinum back then.
Yeah, that was their first platinum album.
So maybe it's like 1 million platinum RIAA certified. Right now, I think if they got it recertified, it'd be at least 4.5 million.
Easily.
Oh, easy.
So I'm staying conservative because there's a point I'm trying to get to. Destroyer is, like we just said, in 2011, it went double platinum. I have Destroyer at 3.5 million.
Yeah, that's conservative. I would have it at 7 million.
Really? Woo.
Yeah.
7?
Yeah.
I mean, Beth was
Just
huge.
because of the album cover. Just because of the album cover.
Well,
They're
Beth.
still selling it at Walmart right now, Chris.
Yeah, I know. I see it every time I go to
The album
Walmart.
cover doesn't look the same. They got Ace's face messed up pretty bad. It doesn't look the same as it was in the 70s. Paul looks the same. Gene looks the same.
You're probably
Peter
looking
looks the same.
You're probably looking at the Resurrected. That's probably what you're looking at. That's why it looks different. So I know Beth was huge. So I'm saying, Detroit Rock City, God of Thunder, Beth, I put that at 3.5. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, Destroyer is almost the closest thing to Kiss's Sgt. Pepper that people would compare it to. So that's kind of the album that a lot of people would probably, give to someone to listen to Kiss as their first album. So I could see where that probably would sell about what you're saying number-wise, because a lot of people are going to say, here, this is the best album they put out.
Okay.
Which is of course arguable, but that's where a lot of people are at.
Exactly. The solo albums are listed as RIAA as being 1 million apiece, and so I took that and I said Ace Frehley sold 1.5, so I put that total at 4.5 million.
That whole thing right there is totally Gene and Paul. They don't want to recertify because they know that their albums didn't sell more than Ace.
Yeah.
And they just don't want that God honest truth.
And the next one I have is Love Gun. I got at 3 million.
Oh yeah.
If I say something that you guys think is right or wrong, just let me know. I'll try to get those a little quicker. Live 2, I got at 2 million.
I'd go a little bigger on that.
Okay. Double Platinum, I got at 2 million.
Yeah, because believe it or not, that's been a lot of people's first time hearing Kiss was having double platinum.
Mm-hmm.
All the time, yeah.
Dynasty, I got at 3 million on the strength of I Was Made for Loving You.
I honestly think it would be a little bit lower.
Okay.
What happened to Rock and Roll Over?
Oh, thank you. I skipped it. 3 million. I
3
skipped
million.
right over. Yeah, I got Rock and Roll Over at 3 million, Love Gun at 3 million.
Yeah, especially Dr. Love was a huge hit back then.
And Hard Luck Woman.
Yeah.
So,
does that say anything about the originals, or I'm sure those?
Yeah, I got this in here too. So
Okay.
I got the originals 1 and 2, Unmasked, The Elder, and The Killers all combining to sell 1 million copies.
Oh no way, no.
You don't think it reached 1 million?
I don't think a million copies of the originals were pressed.
No,
definitely not originals too, but
no, but I mean all of those albums together.
Yeah,
Combined to reach 1 million, not separately. So I know the Elder sold 300,000. Unmasked sold about 350. Killers, original one were pressed for 350,000 copies. I don't know how many they sold.
Well, technically, Killers, there's only 1,000 copies available in America.
Yes, sir.
Is an official release from the box set. It was never released here. You know, you'd go to Camelot Music and you'd find it in the bins there, and you'd be like, "What the hell's this?" As a kid, you know.
Okay.
I would give Elder more like 600,000 now today, but
That's why I was trying to take all those albums and make them into one, and I got a total of 1 million for all those together.
Yeah, I would think the Elder has to be a million selling album by now.
All right,
Well,
so
you got to figure, like you said, you went through 8-tracks, cassettes, and vinyl, and then the CD came out. So anybody who was a fan was going to buy it on CD then.
and of course it's went through a whole resurgence of how people now love the album after so many years. And
Sure.
And so y'all are saying that maybe that counts a little low.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd rather be low than high. That's why I wanted to make sure, because I thought maybe I need to drop it back down to like 700,000. But 1 million, and you guys think is a little low.
Yeah.
Combined,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. The next two albums I combined are both certified gold, and those are Creatures of the Night and Asylum, and I got them combined to sell 1.5 million.
Asylum went platinum.
What's that?
Asylum did go platinum.
No, it's listed as gold right now. I looked at it last night.
It
But
should be.
no, yeah, you might be right. Yeah.
There's platinum awards for it. I've seen the platinum awards at the the record show that air for Eric Carr and what have you.
They just the company hasn't recertified it, but yeah, I'm sure it could definitely have sold a million.
I think Creatures would easily be platinum at least.
Yeah, just for the drum sound alone that everybody heard about. Going back to discover that.
So you guys would say more like 2 million for those combined?
Yeah, that's probably still a little conservative, but yeah, that's a good cushion.
So I'm at 1.5, which is conservative, so I'm good. I'd rather be under than over. Next, I got Lick It Up selling 2 million. It's certified platinum right now.
I've only ever heard of it selling 1 million, but
yeah, it's sold 1 million.
Yeah, that Lick It Up was popular.
Yeah, it was real
Back
popular.
in the 80s.
And they took off the makeup, so a lot of people were interested to, hear the new Kiss without makeup. It's RIAA certified is at 1 million right now. I said it was sold 2 million.
They had huge MTV backing at that time too. That definitely helped the sales.
Okay. Just let me know if I'm too high. Animalize, I got it 2.5 million. It's certified right now at 1 million.
That
sounds. I honestly don't know.
I'd say where it's certified now is probably
Where it
closer
should
to
be.
being correct. Yeah.
Because it said that Animalize sold more than Lick It Up.
Heavens on Fire was a bigger hit than Lick It Up was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was their first MTV exclusive video back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the only things I could think of is why that album would have sold more is that Alive Uncensored, which was
that's
on
true.
MTV and everything. So
And didn't HBO show that concert too?
HBO showed the Rock and Roll Over show from Japan.
Okay.
But MTV aired that Animalize.
Yeah.
And then
okay.
and then of course they put out that official release.
Another album that's certified as selling 1 million copies now is Crazy Nights. I got it at 1.5.
Yeah, that's probably about right. It was 1 million. It was 1 million back in 1988. I think is when it went up to 1 million.
Okay.
But that album never really got a lot of love after that. After that tour ended, they really strayed from it.
The next album, Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits, is certified at 2.5 million right now.
Oh,
I'm sorry, 2 million. It's certified at 2 million. I got it at 2.5 million.
I don't even believe that it's really 2 million.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I saw I mean, that's like the best-selling album of the '80s for them.
Oh, yeah. At the end, I'm gonna tell you a little stat that SoundScan's got. Revenge and Hot in the Shade. I combined them because both of them right now are listed as being gold.
Mm-hmm.
I got them combining for 1.5 million.
That's decent. That's for Revenge. I think Revenge gets it to that number.
Okay.
I wish it were more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next thing is I combined Carnival of Souls, Unplugged, Alive 3, and I think Unplugged and Alive 3 are certified gold right now.
Mm-hmm.
Carnival's not. I got that at a total of 1.5 million.
Yeah, that's a good guess.
I feel like Carnival would be gold if they recertify it.
Okay.
Unplugged may have seen a bit of a spike recently because of the anniversary just passing. And Revenge being Revenge, I mean.
I got 2 more gold certified albums, which is You Wanted the Best and Psycho Circus, and I got them total combined for 1 million copies.
You Wanted the Best.
Yeah, 1 million. That's right.
You Wanted the Best shouldn't even be aluminum.
Yeah.
That needs to go in the garbage.
Yeah. I would hope Psycho could get to 1 million on its own, but I don't know that it actually did. Being that it was the original 4 reunion album.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Greatest Kiss, Best of Kiss, Millennium Collection Volume 1, I got at a total of 1.5 million because 2 of those are certified gold right now. I think Greatest
I believe
Kiss.
that. I love Greatest Kiss. That's probably my favorite compilation. Almost everybody I know has Greatest Kiss, especially back when it came out.
I got the Millennium 2 and 3 along with the box set, and the box set is certified gold, and I got that as a total of 600,000 all combined. Then I've got the Kiss Chronicles, Kiss Icon, Kiss Alive 75 to 2000, and I got them totaling 70,000. And that's recent. That's a recent number. And Symphony, Alive, Millennium, Sonic Boom, Monster, all combined for 730,000 units sold.
Wow.
So now, if we all can agree those numbers are pretty good in the ballpark, they're not inflated, they're more maybe a little bit deflated. If we just take those numbers, which might be conservative, I'm trying to be conservative, that would give Kiss a total of 48 million albums sold in the United States instead of 21. Since 1991, SoundScan has recorded Kiss as selling a total of 8.6 million albums from 1991 to 2020. The biggest selling album of Kiss in that time has been Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits, which has sold over 800,000 copies. And the second biggest is Destroyer, which has sold 580,000 copies.
I find that hard to swallow.
Yeah, wow.
You Wanted the Best is definitely inflated. But isn't there a thing where they could buy, certain certifications for albums?
Like individually instead of the whole catalog?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what they did for Destroyer.
Or something along the lines of like those unsold units, they somehow get credit for that adds into that or something. I'm not sure, but it just, for Smashes and Thrashes to be so-called the most selling album, I don't, something's weird with that.
That is insane.
That's almost 1 million copies since 91.
Crazy.
I don't get it.
They always say the greatest hits copies always sell a lot. I mean, that's what that's why there's so many of them. But
I mean, there's so many, in my opinion, there's so many better compilations than Smashes because of what they did to those songs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, other than, X and Sex and You Make Me Rock Hard, don't get me wrong, those are good songs. But
now,
what they did to the other songs.
The RIAA's got them at 21 million.
Who?
The RIAA's got them at 21 million.
21 million.
Oh, because I thought I looked it up one time. It was at 25 million with them on one website, and then they had 100 million worldwide.
Yeah.
That's what they claim. We don't know.
And then there was one website I looked up said they had 121 million worldwide, with about 26 million in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. I think conservatively we could probably say 48 million was a good roundabout figure.
Yeah.
Considering their popularity in the 70s, and then they even though they didn't make masterpieces in the 80s, they made some solid albums in the 80s. It kept their name afloat. It kept them in the limelight. And in the 90s they came back strong with Revenge, and then with the reunion tour. So
now I just wonder, as far as like gold records, if that whole thing that they used to tout all the time is second only to the Beatles and the amount of gold records sold in America. I wonder if that's still true.
I don't know
today, or if someone else has bumped them out by now.
When you go gold, if you go platinum, you've gone gold. You can't, like you can go triple platinum, but you can't go triple gold.
Oh, okay.
So I mean,
it's just gold all the way up to platinum.
Yeah. So when it seems like when Elvis or somebody would put out an album that was close to them, and then they would surpass Kiss, and then Kiss would have another greatest hits package come out. They would go gold, and they could say we're the #1 champion gold albums again.
Right.
Well, Garth Brooks changed the game in the late '90s with that deal with Walmart, because he got a deal where he made that box set, and instead of counting as one unit, there was like 7 discs in there that counted as 7 albums sold for each unit that he sold. Wow. And the only thing you had to do was make sure the album was a certain time length for it to qualify as that. So he's got credit for all these albums, but he's really just selling 1 unit, and he gets credit for 7 albums.
Well, that's when you guys were talking about the Kiss. What's the my God, my mind. Kissology. Yeah, if there's 3 discs in there and they sold 1 million, they get 3 million.
Exactly.
Do you think
same deal?
The first one, when they were showing the original band from in the 70s, in the early 70s, I forget. I thought I read it sold 19 million. Just that first Kissology DVD.
Oh, DVD? I don't know.
Yeah, the Kissology DVD around their reunion time, they made it. They made a box set, 3 of them.
I tell you what. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, you never heard of Kissology, the 3?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, I have them.
It's a trilogy. It's a box set on each one, and they show all kinds of footage, all kinds of rock and roll concerts that they were in through the years, all kinds of MTV footage during the 80s. So it goes through all their years up into the reunion tour.
Yeah, we've been waiting on Volume 4 for about 15 years now.
Yeah.
So I think I told you guys, Luke and Eli, that my dad was in the bus business in Nashville in the 70s and 80s, where he leased out buses to rock and roll artists and country artists, right? So he was a big country fan and Elvis fan, so he loved John Denver. So when I was going through that RIAA, and John Denver was freaking huge in the 70s. It was like, Brent could tell you, he was freaking
He was on every
huge.
variety show.
So when I looked at the RIAA, it credited John Denver with 33 million albums. I'm like, no way. He had way more than that. So I was researching, and I found this page. It said that his best friend convinced the record company to go back just like 2 months ago and recertify his catalog. So his John Denver's Greatest Hits, which was a huge popular album, in March was only credited as selling 500,000 copies. It was listed gold. After the recertification, it went to 9 million.
Wow.
So he got credit for 20 million. There it is, John Denver, man. That's the man. So he got credited for 20 more million albums like 2 months ago.
Wow. That is a heck of a jump.
Yes. So I think Alive could be anywhere between 4.5 and 8 million. Yeah. I think it could be somewhere in that ballpark.
I'd like to know how they figure that stuff up. It would definitely be an interesting process to see how they do it.
I can tell you back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I worked at a record store. It was before SoundScan took over. And when you sell a record, you just type in $5.99, $6.99 in the register. And it was a year before Michael Jackson's Bad was coming out. And the CBS Records guy came in. He said, you guys are going to make this album number one because it's going to debut at number one. There was no SoundScan. So, that's the way it worked back in the day. And then we got these little machines where you just scan the barcode with a pen. And that's when the SoundScan started taking effect. Because they were tracking it by the barcodes finally then.
Yeah, that's like 1991, 92. Was that like 91 or 92?
No, this back in the 80s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because Bad was what, like 87?
Yeah.
Oh, 80. Yeah, something like that. Because I remember, the barcode started popping up on the albums right around 84. And I used to say, why are these back here? And the guy's like, oh, well, that's for the record company, blah, blah, blah. Because we never did anything with them. And then we got a thing called a telezon. Like I said, it was just a wand.
I remember seeing those things.
And, and then you punch a number in and it would send it off, through the phone line. And that's how they started keeping. So when that happened, it was great because you started looking at Billboard, and Billboard was always, it took about 2 or 3 weeks for those numbers to get reported. So therefore, by the time it got into Billboard, that's what sold 3 weeks ago, but everybody thought it was going on this week,
Right. Yeah, that's something else I didn't take into consideration is like BMG and Columbia House, like how many units, sold of, because I know I got a lot of KISS stuff through those services and, so I wasn't taking that into consideration.
For a penny.
That's all they ever got out of you.
Yeah. I wonder how they keep track of things like that now, too. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot easier to keep track of things in the digital age, but so many people, or I should say so few people are buying full-length albums anymore. How do they work in Spotify streams or whatever? Do those even count towards that?
Yes, it's disgusting. I looked it up last night. I was like, who sold the most total albums, yada, yada. So most of the links would say like Elvis or the Beatles, somebody like that. And then there was one link that said Drake has sold more albums than any artist in history. And I'm like, how in the hell? And so I pulled it up, and he gets credit for the streaming. So these people are not even buying the album. They're just streaming, I don't know, Spotify, whatever. So when they get so many streams, it counts like they bought an album.
Yeah,
so
isn't it like every 1,000 or something like that?
He's up, he was up to like 375,000 streams, or I don't even. It's all bogus now. I mean,
that should be counted the way radio. That should be like playing it on radio. That's how that should be counted.
Yep.
And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I was going to say Rihanna was like number 4 all time, and then when you look her up on the RIA charts, she's like at 20 million.
Jesus. So
I mean, you go for like on that one streaming thing saying you're the number 4 highest selling artist in history, and then your RIA is only like 20 million, which is it's good, but it's considering the Beatles are 186. It's nothing to write home about.
Well, kind of backing up when you were talking about the Garth Brooks thing with that box set. Well, now, because they put out a vinyl box set of Garth Brooks like last year or whatever it was. So I wonder if he's turning around and doing the same exact thing with what he did with those units with this vinyl box set now.
Eli, I think he's done it several times since then.
Target even had their own version of it, of the CDs.
He's the only artist in history to have 9 albums that went diamond.
Oh my God!
Wow!
It's amazing.
So I would say about half of those were because of what we were talking about.
Absolutely.
And plus, he was a KISS fan, so it helped.
Yes, that is for sure.
Yeah. So it's not fair how they judge it these days. It's just you can't compete, man.
If there's no purchase involved, it shouldn't be counted, especially.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's, everybody was talking about, Ace Frehley's last record debuted at what was it on Billboard? I mean, it was in the top 10.
Yeah.
But if record sales were what they were 15 years ago, he'd been lucky to make top 100. To be honest with you, not knocking it. Ace's last album was the best Ace album he's put out since Trouble Walking, in my opinion.
Okay.
I agree.
And I've got 8 copies of his last albums. I had to buy the purple vinyl, the magenta vinyl, and right now I'm up to 3 versions and a CD. I still had to buy 3 more versions from overseas.
And then you got Origins too coming out with all the different variations.
So I've got 4 copies coming in the mail, 1 CD and 3 vinyls already. So
wow.
I think, Brent, don't you have like 26 copies of one Night Ranger album?
No, that's Josh.
Oh, Josh. Okay.
Yeah, that's Josh. Josh has all, because when we did a collector's episode a couple weeks ago, and I've been putting that off. Josh, nobody's going to watch you flipping through Night Ranger records. Because
That was awesome.
And oh my God, it was like, I mean, right out of the gate, it totally proved me wrong. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I didn't think anybody cared to see 27 Dawn Patrols, to be honest with you.
I was mesmerized. I was like, God, when's it going to stop?
Yeah, it's amazing. So, and because, they're not a collectible band. They're not a Kiss. And then, that's why I said I've got so many different versions of Kiss records on 4 formats. It's unbelievable. That's why they had to have more copies out there, for sold for the RIAA. So,
absolutely. I feel like when it comes down to it, especially with a lot of these new artists, I feel like there's probably some sort of payola going on again. Obviously not the way it used to be, but I think to an extent there's something going on like that to get all these, astronomical numbers for these artists and the kind of money they're making. It just doesn't add up to me.
Yeah. And also you got how many companies owning all the radio stations now? So and then I had won Kiss lawn tickets that I had sold for the last tour. I didn't know what I was going to win. I just got picked to win them off one of the local radio stations. So I went to pick them up. And within that radio station, there was 5 stations. 2 were active. All the other ones didn't have anybody working there. And I asked the receptionist, I said, what's going on with this? Oh, well, those are coming in from Florida. Those are coming in from Texas, So everything you hear, I've always known that, but everything you're hearing, you might think it's coming from your local station, but it might be coming from Dallas for all you know.
Yeah, true.
Because iHeartRadio and all these companies own all these stations.
Yep.
And that's why everything you hear, no matter where you go, if you turn it on your rock station, you're going to hear Nickelback. You're going to hear
Rock and Roll All Night Live.
Who's from the 90s?
Who's Bush?
Yeah.
I can't stand Bush.
Breathe out. Join the club. Join the club.
Everybody's playing. They still play that shit like it's new.
Let me tell you, Brent, let me tell you something. Those kids in the 90s are all grown up running the stations now, radio stations. And that documentary that came out like a year ago said that the top 10 most played songs of classic radio are all from the 90s. So I looked at that and I looked it up, and it was, sure as shit was right. But you have to remember, the most played doesn't mean the most requested. We're playing this. So I went and I searched up the 20 most downloaded rock songs from 2000 to 2020. So out of the 2018 were pre-1990. The 1990s was like Smells Like Teen Spirit, and there's another one, it might have been a Green Day song or something. But that tells you what's being pushed out there. There's a backing to push this 90s rock more than it is the 80s, especially the hair metal. The 80s and the 70s still gets a lot of love, but they're giving the 90s the most love. But if you look at the songs that were actually downloaded and bought by people, 18 of the 20 were before 1990. Oh, I know what the other one. I'm sorry. The other one was Enter Sandman.
Oh yeah, definitely. One of the stations around here, they're a classic rock station, but they only want to stick more to the 70s and 80s, and maybe they'll sprinkle a bit of the 90s, but not much. But what kills me is you sit here and think about how much stuff now is at that point to be considered classic rock But why is it that radio station puts a cap on what they consider to be classic rock when that used to be their gimmick back when they started that radio station? Because back in like the 80s, they were playing oldies on that station. Sure. And then it became like, oh, you know, if the song is like 20, 25 years old, it's classic rock now. So now we're playing all these songs. Well, when did that stop? And, you know, look at how many great songs are at that point now that, yeah, to me, it doesn't sound like classic rock, but when you really stop and think, it is classic rock now. And they just give that stuff no play.
Yeah, it's probably the same 40 or 50 songs every single day in a slightly different order. I mean,
yeah. It's like I said, we had that little joke about Rock and Roll All Night. It's like every time if I'm, you know, taking a shower or whatever and I got the radio on, 9 times out of 10 I hear live Rock and Roll All Night come on while I'm in there, and I'm like, oh my God, like, come on, anything but that.
Yeah, I mean, classic rock radio has never been friendly towards KISS. They would play Rock and Roll All Night. Every great once in a while they might play Detroit Rock City.
Yeah.
But that was it. And I used to get so frustrated because the local radio stations would never play KISS until KISS came to concert, and then they would like play all these KISS tracks. I'm like, oh, you freaking poser! What are you doing? You never play KISS, and now you're playing Dr. Love and Deuce and Black Diamond. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, KISS is fairly, you know, in my opinion, they seem, you know, Dayton's a fairly important place for KISS. I mean, you know, back in the early days, you know, Paul says it in one video, you know, they were playing in Dayton when he looked out and saw how big the crowd was and, oh, the roller coaster is about to begin, you know, all that stuff. So I feel like there's kind of this weird little, you know, tie-in with Dayton and KISS and and Ohio in general, but yet the radio stations just don't seem to want to, you know, show them any love for some reason.
Well, WTUE has always supported KISS out of Dayton.
Yeah, but
well, I mean, like right now, tonight will be their KISS Goodnight. It used to be, you know, mandatory Metallica, and they'll play, you know, a half-hour KISS music, and they play deep cuts on that.
Oh, so they do still do that?
Oh, yeah, they still do that.
I was curious.
I mean, Dayton's an hour away from me, but I remember we were listening to TUE when I heard about KISS and Night Ranger coming to UD Arena back on the Creature Store. You know, we didn't get that broadcasted down here, you know. That's how I found out. And I was in 8th grade back then. God. And,
I mean,
you know, but I was hearing I Love It Loud on TUE back then. I was hearing Lick It Up and All Hell's Breaking Loose. I was hearing, you know, Under the Gun on WTUE. I mean, they did play that kind of stuff, you know.
Wow.
They did give them love. So
it's just not as consistent, I guess. And then, you know, I knew they were doing that Kiss Goodnight, but I didn't know if they still were. But again, they, at the same time, it's like they conveniently squeeze it in at like midnight.
Yeah.
You know, some, you know, holier than thou hour. You know, and, you know, I remember like before the Psycho Circus tour came and they used to play that Rockline show on TUE and they had Kiss on there. And I remember I recorded it on cassette as it aired. I was so excited. I was even convinced that KISS was in the studio down in Dayton on the radio doing the show. And, you know, it was just such cool things like that. But when it comes to the music, you know, during the regular hours of the day, you're lucky to hear live Rock and Roll All Night, and that's about it as far as KISS. I mean,
I got on Rockline twice with KISS.
Nice.
I got on when they did the Alive 3 was coming out, and I was a nervous wreck. I couldn't believe I got through, and they had to say, "This is Brent from Dayton, Ohio. Listen to WTUE because we didn't broadcast in Cincinnati." And I thought I got the greatest question ever. And I said, "Hey guys, you know, you put out all this merchandise over your career. What's your favorite piece of merchandise? Pinball machine, you know." But I'm not saying it this confidently, you know. Because, what is it, you know? And I can envision them sitting around the studio looking at each other. And Gene says, "I would have to say, a T-shirt."
What?
and I'm sitting in my garage, so I don't wake up, you know. And I'm like, you know, on the cordless phone going, "Yeah, well." You see somebody walking down the street and it has a KISS logo on it, you know, and I'm thinking, yeah, but I got a pinball machine upstairs. That's that's not the coolest thing you put out, T-shirt. You can find it. Go back and listen. I was hung up for nothing. Really?
Wow.
and I got in when they were doing what's the greatest hits? It's where they had the 4 pictures of them. Gene was kind of more in red. Paul was in purple. Peter was. I got on when they were on that, and I don't even remember what I asked them on that. But Rockline sent me a Kiss Alive 3 autographed CD.
Really?
From
That's
that.
awesome.
And they just sent me the greatest hits compilation when I was on the next time. So
Nice.
That's awesome, man. I remember in the 70s hearing Kiss quite a bit on the radio. And I'm talking, Rock and Roll All Night, obviously, Hard Luck Woman, Beth, Detroit Rock City, Colin, Dr. Love, and of course, I Was Made for Loving You. Hearing those songs regularly on the radio.
Groove.
New York Groove, yes, good one. And a lot of people say Kiss didn't get a lot of radio play in the 70s. Well, let me tell you something. They got a hell of a lot more play in the 70s than they did the 80s.
Yeah.
And I think it was just because they were so popular that they couldn't just totally ignore them because everybody was calling and requesting, and they were just everywhere. And I even heard, get this, I even heard on the radio, Radioactive off the Gene Simmons solo album.
Yeah, they used to play that down here. Because Q102, the local top 40 station, they used to have the top 10 at 8 o'clock. And you'd call all day and vote for your things. Well, it was always between Kiss and Zeppelin.
Okay.
And, and so we'd be calling all night long, getting, all day. We get home from school, Kiss, 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 Kiss. Because I got tired of Black Dog being number 1. And they wouldn't play Led Zeppelin any other time of day other than the top 10 at 10. So then they changed the rules after about a year and a half of just Kiss and Zeppelin being the top 10, where it had to be new songs, So
Yeah. I guess the radio programmers in the 80s, they were still left over from the 70s, most of them, and they were so pissed that, because most of them didn't like Kiss, and they were forced to play them because, they were so freaking huge. And when the 80s came around and their popularity dropped, they were like, screw them guys, they're nothing but a gimmick, and I ain't playing that shit. And in the 80s, man, radio was brutal to Kiss.
Yeah. MTV helped them a little bit with the countdown because you got to call in the countdown, and they couldn't deny Kiss on the top 10. I mean, Kiss had Lick It Up on there. Kiss had Heaven's on Fire on there. Kiss had Tears Are Falling on there. Who Wants
Crazy
to Be Lonely?
Nights, Reason to Live. They were all top 10 videos on MTV.
Yep.
Yeah, so MTV gave them some play, but not the radio. But MTV also gave a lot of play to Guns N' Roses, and Guns N' Roses shot up because of MTV.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Not
thank God
because
for
of the
MTV
radio.
back then.
When knees, when he said that on TV, people was like, "What's going on? What's the
Well, I want to thank each and every one of you guys. You did a great job. And I want to tell you, if you're listening, watching out there, go to YouTube, check out Kiss Meets the Podcast, a great show. And if you love Night Ranger, or if you just, hey, I don't really know much about them, go to YouTube, check out Fans of Motion. Those guys have a great show. And Night Ranger is an amazing band. You will not be sorry that you go down that wormhole if you have never been. Great band. And I want to tell you guys one more time that, you're more than welcome anytime on this show. And we loved having you and hope to have you back soon.
All you gotta do is let me know.
Yeah, thanks again. This was a blast. Definitely like to do it again. And as always, the door's always open for our show for you guys to come back on, or for the first time. Brent and Mike, it was cool to meet you guys.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So we'll definitely have to do this again.
It's good to see there's a lot of Kiss fans in Ohio, so Ohio's representing strong tonight.
Oh, yeah.
The Kiss Army out of Ohio.
Yeah, them shows are always packed.
You know what was 5 years ago tonight? Kiss was playing Dayton, Ohio on the Freedom to Rock tour.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I was there.
Yep.
I still got my confetti somewhere in the streamers that I kept.
I want to thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it, and thanks for putting up with all my delays. He said last week would have been great, and I thought I was going to have to cancel out this week because Wednesday I lost my voice.
Oh, wow.
So I was going to go really deep with the Barry White, but I didn't want to excite you all. You know, didn't want to. Figured I didn't want to discover or solve that mystery. If I started talking like this.
Yeah, I didn't want to slide out of my chair or nothing.
Right, there you go.
That's why the camera's from the chest up.
That shoulder.
Mike, it kind of looks like you got hair in the like behind you, like you got flowing blonde locks coming out. I think you're in between shelves.
All right.
It looks like you got some.
I see it now.
Like Hulk Hogan.
I had to do a double take, man.
Out on the streets of living.
Remember to rock and roll all night and watch Kiss and Tell podcast every day. See you guys. Thank you.